If you're about to boot up Bellum for the first time and you don't know where to begin, I am here to help. With a closed beta releasing and plenty of new players joining, I've put together this short guide on the basic info to get you started. In this video, I'll cover the playtest calendar, the game launcher, adjusting your settings, and the basics of the game. If you still need to get the basic controls of the game down, make sure to check out my video called Bellum Basics for Beginners. And if you need help with managing the communications in this game, check out my other video called How to Communicate with Confidence. So let's start with the playtesting calendar. The closed beta releases on April 10th, meaning you can begin playing in weekend playtests if you have the Deluxe tier of the game. During the closed beta, over the course of months, the developers plan to expand the playtest to be longer periods of time. This is all subject to change, but the current plan is to have Friday through Sunday playtests throughout the month of April, with Thursdays opening in May and Wednesdays opening in June. So for example, in June, we should see the playtest servers open from Wednesday through Sunday. If you want to stay up to date on the playtesting schedule as the beta continues, make sure to join the official Bellum Discord server. I've put a link to the server in the description below. If you go on the server and navigate to the event calendar, you'll see times for the upcoming playtest. Next, let's quickly go over the launcher. When you bought the game, you should have received a link to download the game launcher. If the download isn't working for you, try opening the link in a different browser. You should have also received an email with your game key. Go into the launcher, enter your key, and get access to the game. As the beta progresses, the developers will likely be continuously updating the game, so for now you'll want to make sure to check for updates. They seem to have added a new feature that checks for you, so you may see a prompt to download updates when you open your launcher. If not, click this little gear icon or cogwheel or whatever it is on the bottom right corner, and then click check for updates to see if you're up to date. And if you're not, get your game updated before you start playing. When you first boot up the game, you'll probably want to adjust your settings. If you want to play with your settings and try to get your FPS up or your visual settings better, you can load into the training server. If you open up the server list, you should see a server named something like training server. I'm not sure if it'll be open 24/7, but in most cases, when I've tried to get on and mess with my settings, the server has been open. You can join the server, select a faction and a role, and get into the game. And when you load into the training server, you may see some strange things, but don't mind that. When you're in the training server, you can walk around, get a feel for the game, play with your weapons and equipment, and tweak your settings until you've got them the way you want them. You'll want to get your settings adjusted in the training server ahead of time because when you join into an actual game in Bellum, it'll feel intense almost immediately. Even if you load into a brand new match, everyone on your team is going to be planning out your movements, so the training server is a great first place to go to adjust your settings. Now let me quickly go over the basics of the game. First off, the game has 3 factions. The first 2 factions are the conventional forces, the US Army Rangers and Satyr, a Russian PMC unit. The unconventional forces are Al-Zalam. The conventional forces have more modern weapons and body armor, but Al-Zalam gets extra lives in each match. Each of them are fun to play in their own way. The game types in the beta will be attrition and exploitation. In attrition, you are trying to attrite the enemy. In simplest terms, this game type is a team deathmatch. You can win either by influence points or by reducing enemy manpower. Influence points are gained by your team by being in the AO, the area of operations, which is this circle on the map here. They recently adjusted the way you gain influence so that units closer to the center of the AO score more influence points, but I'm not sure if that'll be changed in the future. So you can win the game by scoring 100 influence points. This would mean you want to keep your platoon alive and in the AO and try to kick the enemy out of it. But you can also win if the enemy manpower falls below a certain threshold. That threshold is currently 40%, so if you tally up all the lives your team has at the start of a game and that number falls below 40%, you'll automatically lose the game. Exploitation is a brand new game type with objectives involved. In this game type, Al-Zalam gets to place weapons caches on the map. These are placed by Al-Zalam squad leaders or the commander, and they must be spaced 300 meters apart. They also can't be placed along the outer ring of the AO. It is Al-Zalam's job in exploitation to protect these weapons caches. As long as the caches remain on the map, Al-Zalam gains influence points. The other faction, whichever conventional forces are playing in this match, have to find those weapons caches and destroy them. Caches can only be destroyed with C4 or rocket launcher rounds. 3 weapons caches can be placed, and conventional forces will win if they destroy 2 of them. And in this game type, if you are the conventional forces and you down enemies, you can walk up to them and pick up intel, which will help reveal locations of weapons caches on your map. And attrition win conditions still apply during exploitation. So if manpower falls below a certain threshold for either team, that team will automatically lose. Exploitation is relatively simple, but it adds a really nice attack and defense element to the game. There are plenty of roles to choose from in this game. If it's your first time playing this game ever, I'd recommend you stay away from the HQ squad roles, the squad leader position, and the fire team leader position. This way you can avoid being in platoon net for a little bit while you figure out the game. You can play as a basic rifleman, a machine gunner, an RPG gunner, a medic, whatever you feel like doing. I should note that the medical system is not as simple as most games. In a lot of games, I know medic can be a basic role to play while you get a hang of things, but not so much in this game. You'll want to read up on using stimulants and depressants if you want to play the medic role, but I'd recommend playing around with all the different roles to see everything this game has to offer. If you do like playing in leadership positions, I'd start with a fire team leader position first, and then work your way up to squad lead and even platoon leader if that's your kind of thing. When you die in this game, you'll enter the redeploy menu. You have limited lives in this game, so you want to see this menu as infrequently as possible. You can see your lives on the bottom, and you have a few options for redeploying. You can always redeploy at the FOB, but then it's a long walk into the AO. Usually you redeploy on the FOB when your whole squad has been wiped. Otherwise, you want to redeploy on your squad lead or your fire team leader. But here's the thing, you can only redeploy on them if two conditions are satisfied. They must have one squad mate nearby, and they must not be in contact with the enemy. So don't be impatient here. Instead of automatically redeploying on the FOB, look at your team on the map. If you see that your squad leader is not next to any squad mates right now, but that he's about to catch up with one, you should wait. You would much rather wait even 5 minutes to redeploy on your squad than to start running into the AO from the FOB. And similarly, if they are currently in combat, you can wait and see how it plays out. They may be able to break contact so that your squad can reconstitute. If it helps, you can watch your team's helmet cams by pressing the little icon next to their name shown here. This can help you assess when and where to redeploy. So wait and see how it goes. Patience is a virtue. You will get shot and blown up in this game, and you will want to know how to fix yourself. There's a lot I could go over here, but I'm just going to stick to the basics. If you're in combat, it can be very hard to perform medical, so try to get out of combat if you can before you start fixing yourself up. Hold H to see your medical display and look for wounds. If a limb is bleeding, left click on that limb to apply a tourniquet to stop the bleeding. Right clicking on any wound will use a bandage to get that body part fully healed. You can't tourniquet a torso or a head, obviously, so just use bandages there. If you look at the outer ring of your medical display and it's not green, and especially if it's red, that means you need blood, so call for a medic. And if you are downed, you may fall in and out of consciousness. When your screen goes dark, you cannot communicate with your teammates. When you snap back, you may want to try to get in touch with your teammates to see if anyone will be able to pick you up. Try to avoid redeploying, but if your squad tells you that you're a lost cause, you can hit escape, click redeploy, and get back into the game. There will be 2 maps in the beta, and one of them will be the Highlands map. This is the one we've been playing on since the closed alpha started in November. It'll take a while to get a feeling for the map, but I can run you through the basics of it here. The AO is randomized, and so it can end up in different portions of the map you see on screen here. Sometimes the AO will have more open areas, and sometimes it'll be full of dense jungle. Sometimes you have to contend with little villages where people hole up, and sometimes you have to contend with the dreaded river. Crossing the river can be very difficult, so be very careful when doing so. The same goes for open fields. The lush wooded areas are where you're most likely to suddenly come upon enemy contact as enemy squads patrol tree lines and bump into each other. So be careful when moving through the woods. You never know if there's going to be an enemy sitting at the top of the hill you're climbing. The second map remains a mystery and will be revealed shortly after this video is published, but all I know about it right now is from what our resident cheese lover Barton has told us, which is that it'll have more urban areas and more large, flat, open spaces. Sounds fun. So, that's it. That's just about everything you need to know to get started. I hope you have a wonderful experience playing this game for the first time and learning the ropes. If you catch me in a game out there, say hello.